Hello everybody, I'm Kerry. I'm here from Reality Remodel and we have a suspected leaky toilet. I'm here today to help my friend, and we're going to look and see what's going on here. The first thing I want to do, and I can't stress enough, is that you need to clean your work area. This isn't a common work area. There's a lot of bacteria and viruses in here that you cannot see. And I know that your better half, your spouse, your partner, or you yourself may keep your bathroom clean. But today, we're getting our hands down in places that you don't normally go. So we want to use a trusted disinfectant, okay? And I want to be very generous with this. Now, I've already been in here and cleaned this, and I'm just going to show you what I do here. I spray it on the base, the floor. I'm very generous. Everywhere my hand is going to go ahead and touch, I spray. All right, let me wipe that up. Mind you, I've already done this already once, so we're pretty clean. That was just for demonstration purposes. You can never clean it too much. All right, so when I came the first time, curiosity killed the cat, and I went ahead and I pulled up some tile to have a look. I'm looking at some vinyl here that's lifted up due to water damage. Now, I'm going to do this now, but normally I wouldn't do this, okay? But you can see, look at that. Oh, damn, that's bad. Look at that. It looks like there's another floor under there. Oh, that's nasty. Look at that. You see that? That's the particle board that's all swelled up, and this is glue. The gray and white is glue. This is particle board that's swelling up. Look at that. That's gone. That's toast. Now you can't even replace this. I have, oh yeah, look at this. You see how black that is? Nail head's rusted in the floor. That nail head is rusted, and that's black. That's mold. And that's coming from the wax ring. Look at that. See that divot in there? So, yeah, we have some damage in the flooring. So this is a complete replacement. That's water damage. Where's this water damage come from? Well, there's obvious things. I suspect a wax ring. The water was dirty, and we had staining around the base of the toilet that continues to return. That's very indicative of a leaky wax ring. The problem with that is that when you flush the toilet, that is splashing water out of under pressure through the wax ring. And then it puddles up and then it runs out. That's dirty water. That's tank water coming out of your bowl. And that's dirty water every time we flush it. So that happening here is nasty. We want to stop that. So that's the indication that we've had here. And that's why we're going to be replacing this. Very important here. Some contractors and plumbers, not a plumber, but some remodeling contractors or a handyman will caulk that off, thus sealing the water inside, taking away one of the indicators that you have a leak. And so I advise, and most of your contractors are going to advise, that you do not caulk here. We want to see that water leaking out. Okay, so there are other things that may have caused this leak. And we're going to go over those right now because that may be what you have in your house. Maybe your floor is fine. So another way that you can get a leak is through this service valve here. So usually what happens is that these go bad. They've been here in your house since they were built. The chlorine in the water dries out the bushings that they seat in. When you turn the water on and off, the seat dissolves from the chlorine. And then when you go to turn the water back off because you reset a new toilet, the water is passing through that and you have a drip. And you can't turn that off. You literally have to replace this valve. But that's not a big deal. We can get those from our local hardware supply, and I'll show you how to replace that later. So we're going to check around the bowl, the tank, and we're going to look for other possible leaks outside of the fact that we already know that the wax ring is bad. But that may not be the situation at your house. So I'm going to show you how to check for other leaks. I'm going to take a paper towel here, And I'm going to work it around every place where the water can be. And that's dry. So we're lucky, our valve is fine. But I'm going to go ahead and replace it anyway. You want to know why? I start taking this tank out and I'm going through my work and it's time to put that back on and I get my water all hooked up. I turn the water on and now I've got a leak. What am I going to do? I'm going to run all the way back to the hardware store and have to get that part. I'm telling you right now, for the cost of that part, which is not that much, it's better insurance to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. The next place you could have a possible leak is where the tank attaches to the bowl. So there's a bolt right there with a nut that goes inside the tank, which is held down by a screw head and a rubber washer. And so the chlorine in the water eats and corrodes that rubber washer over time. And then you get water that seeps through around the bolts, causes rust, and then over time you start to get a drip. Those drips are black, and you can tell them because they land on the floor here and they're black. And then you know that you've got a leak here, but the toilet's got to be pretty old for that to happen. That's not a usual leak area, okay? So another place where you can get some moisture is at the back of the toilet, where you can get condensation between a cold wall, a cold tank, and then you come in and take a shower. You warm the room up. The moisture from the steam in the shower is going to collect on the back of that toilet in condensation. You turn on the wall heater, the same thing is going to happen. You're going to form some condensation. So that can acquire and cause some drips that you might find. But the worst thing about that is it can grow black mold. And that is for a whole nother video. Black mold is a no-have in your house. That's what makes your house sick. That's what makes everybody who lives in your house sick. It's bad, bad for babies. Okay, let's move on. So we've determined that everything else here is dry, not causing the leak. And you can look here and see that there is definitely damage from water. Now I'm going to look over here. Is it from the shower? It doesn't appear to be. The shower door is here. The floor is solid. The floor is solid all along the shower wall. That's not where our leak is coming from. All right, let's try here. Oh, do you hear that? It's mushy. That's because there's water swelling up in the particle board. So when we build these floors, when we do this here, we put down particle board. And then we put the flooring on top of the particle board. Because we know that someday, inevitably, these toilets are going to leak, and we're going to have to remove that. Now, if we had gone ahead and glued the vinyl to the plywood subfloor, then how would you remove that? How would you change that out when you have a leak? So we put down particle board, and then we lay the vinyl on top of the particle board. And that is for easy repair and replacement. In the case here, looks like we have a smaller area of damaged particle board. So I don't have to replace this whole floor. I can cut the particle board out right here and replace that single section. And I'm also allowed to put a new vinyl right over this one. So I'll pull out that rotted floor and put down new particle board. I'll seal that with a leveler, and then I'll lay new vinyl over the whole floor. And that we'll call that good. Normally. But in this case, it looks like this leak has caused some more damage to the floor. So we're going to pull out the particle board, and then we're going to look and see, so a little bit of exploratory. We're going to see what's causing this damage. I'm afraid to say that this can be caused by the leaky toilet. Not only has it started into the particle board, but it may have gotten into the subfloor and into the subframing. And that's where you start to get a rotting of the wood. It'll get a black mold and a slime coat on it, and it's literally deteriorating the wood. Now this is the structure member that holds up your floor. Once these begin to rot and mush out, you get what's happening here. I do believe that we have some damage to the subframing caused by the water leaking from the toilet. You can see that the floor kind of dives in there, which is why this is pulling apart. That is not from the shower, that is from the leaky wax ring. And it's been running for a little while. And I'm afraid that that's what we're going to find. Well, all right, folks, that about sums it up. We've seen the damage that can be caused by the water. Hopefully your damage isn't too bad. If you like my video, please give me a like and a subscribe. If you have any questions, put it in the comments section and I will personally answer those questions for you. I thank you for your time and appreciate you. You all have a nice day. Bye now.